explaining to the people, these common people, because common people have to be, they are interested in their life and livelihood, and we have to explain them that your life and livelihood is at stake because of the state machinery, because of this kind of structure that is existing. Yes, you can't explain to all these people. As you say rightly, that a much more involved discussion in this direction should take place. So that is taking place amongst the leadership, but again, to involve people and make them conscious about that, it is taking time. But I think actually the people, common people, are gradually getting educated about that. For example, in 95, when there was movement against Tata Steel in Gopalpur, I had the first day when their leader was arrested. Narayan Reddy was there, he was leader of that movement. Gana Sangrams had gone to that place, and it was, they actually completely choked the entire national highway near Barampur. So there we talked to people. We said, "What's the why you oppose Tata Steel? Because it's promising job and all that." So they said, they immediately referred to Hirakud. They said, "You see, the government says these kind of things, but what government has done to the ousties of Hirakud? Hirakud ousties means it is 1956, 57, in those days, the Hirakud Dam, no? Sambalpur. So what they have done to the ousties? We are really, because that means there is a discussion that look, if we lose this place, the government, whatever allurement the government is showing now at the moment, it's not going to fulfill its promises. Lady told, I asked her that why are you opposing? Same question. Then she says that it's very symbolic. She says, okay, we are all uneducated people, illiterate people. What job Tata will offer us? Because suppose it offers some job, then what's going to happen? She showed us a pregnant woman and pointed at her belly and says, what is going to happen to this fellow? So she is conscious of the claim of the unborn generation. You see, this generation hasn't come. She said, nothing better can be explained about sustainable development, as she explained. So the consciousness is certainly has risen, the common man, but again, to take them towards capturing power, it is, if you really want to develop them to capture power, not arbitrarily or not with some kind of bang and all that, then it certainly takes.
One thing that to my mind and to many others seems to be the sign of a problem, or seems to indicate the possibility of a problem is this idea of a tribal identity, an Adivasi identity, and saying that this land is of the Adivasis, this land is of the minerals, because it seems to suggest that there is a homogeneous Adivasi identity. These people, it's their minerals, their land, their water. Does that mean that if you leave them to it, which is what the Forest Act did to a large extent, if you leave them to it, then all problems will be solved and everything will be hunky-dory? Is that true? Or do you think that people, when they talk about these questions, they are at some point thinking about this identity in those terms, as if it was homogeneous and all good inside?
You see, because tribals, say in Orissa, we have 62 tribes. 62 tribes. So, when the moment I say tribal, it appears as if they are one. They are not one. There are 62 tribes, there are primitive tribes, there are other kinds of tribes. So, homogeneity in that sense probably doesn't exist. But as far as their dependence on on the nature is concerned, you can find some kind of similarity. So self-determination, again, suppose Santals, they are dominant. Then when Santals, you allow Santals having their own, if their language is imposed, then other tribes, they will oppose that. So this kind of thing is there. So the self-determination in the sense of having their own land, and I think this has to be properly understood. Because my understanding of these small states, particularly this Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, they were carved out because they were resource rich. And they were carved out, probably the corporate power thought that it would be easier to handle the political power in those states. So much so that, say, Mittal's wealth may be more than the Jharkhand's GDP. Okay, so they can control that. In fact, it is happening. Maybe Chhattisgarh or maybe in Jharkhand is happening. So we have to be a little cautious about this kind of thing, because who is actually asking for self-determination? Who are the forces? Maybe the agents of the corporates. They may be asking that.
What if not agents of corporates? Then, I mean, in the sense that it's not simply paid agents, but simply the fact that the upper, those who are higher up in the hierarchy in those tribes might be in their interest.
You see, we have an engineering college here. It has become a deemed university, which has that's a Kalinga Institute of Social Science, KISS. That it is under KIT, that's deemed university, and they are claiming to be giving education to 10,000 tribal students. 10,000 tribal students. And you imagine those tribal students, again, one may question, then do you mean to say that they should not be educated? But I see these 10,000 tribal students are going to be displaced. You are displacing in another sense. It's a cultural displacement. And maybe after say 10 to 15 years, when these 10,000 students come to the society with their might, then they can be easily taken over by the corporate powers. The symptom is already being showing. How Tata is giving money for their education. No? Tisco is sponsoring some of these students from Kalinganagar. So different corporates which are having their enterprises in these tribal areas, they are sponsoring the students who come here and read. If we ask them, no, all those 10,000 students who are there, let them be taught in Santali. Let them be taught in Kui. Will they agree? I don't think they will agree. Because their agenda is to see that they are actually divorced from their own culture, so that it will be easier for the corporates to co-opt them. So I am afraid that after a few years, it will be more difficult for all those people to protect these tribals from being taken over by the corporates. Jittu Jakasika, the boy who was actually representing Dongriya Kant against Vedanta, is now PRO of Vedanta. Not only that, he is now studying management in a private institution. He is studying management in Japan. I heard that he is being financed by a corporate. So all these things are happening. So self-determination, I can see that these very fellows will ask for self-determination because they want power.